So here recently, we've been taking a look at several position battles for Alabama before the Crimson Tide get real deep into the spring practices, and we've been giving a lot of attention to the defensive side of the ball, but today, I wanted to switch over to the offensive side of the ball. With new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees going to the Crimson Tide, we need to talk about a position group today that not only do I think is in for a huge year during the course of the 2023 season, but I think this position group is going to be massive for the Crimson Tide's offensive success as a whole. And of course, today we're breaking down the running back room. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe the running back room for Alabama is set for a big year during the course of the 2023 season? And then let me know the running backs you're interested in seeing. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions are massive. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And there are several different reasons I wanted to start with the running back room when talking about Alabama's offense. First and foremost, I just think the collection of talent in the room is compelling. We know that Alabama and Nick Saban can recruit with the best of them, but what they've been able to do in assembling running back talent, it is wild. Whenever you look at this room, you have Jace McClellan, you have Roydell Williams, you have Jamarian Miller, you have Richard Young, you have Justice Haynes, and you have Emmanuel Henderson, where when we look at the Crimson Tide's roster, Emmanuel Henderson is listed as a wide receiver, but we all know, if need be, he has the ability to go play running back. He was a 5-star running back coming out of high school. He is just so supremely gifted. The coaching staff is trying to figure out any way they can get him the ball. He is that talented. So the running back talent is not in question for Alabama, even after they lose a Jahmyr Gibbs, who was otherworldly in the ability he brings to the table. The one thing they are going to really miss, and I'm interested in seeing which one of the running backs steps up, is someone has got to be able to at least try and replicate. I don't know that you're going to be able to replicate it, but you have to try and replicate the threat Jahmyr Gibbs posed as a receiving threat out the backfield. I'm interested to see which running back takes on that role, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. The other reason is because of new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. Because when we really break down Tommy Rees and his offensive philosophy, he loves the power run attack. In fact, when we look at Notre Dame, they had 519 rushing attempts during the course of the 2022 season as compared to Alabama's 448. So that's a 71 rushing attempt difference, and I think whenever you look at the running back talent Alabama has assembled, you have got to be very excited. And I've talked about this before. Whenever you have a new offensive coordinator or a new quarterback, check for Alabama. Bryce Young is no longer there. Bill O'Brien goes back to the NFL. So you're breaking in a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. Great tight end play and great running back play can be your best friend. And in the case of Alabama, the great running back play, I think will have them covered. But speaking of having you covered, so some of you probably know that I'm getting married in the coming months, and because of that, my fiance and I have been looking at any way we can to save money, which is exactly why I'm so excited to be working with today's partner, Mint Mobile. Some of you probably already know about Mint. You see the commercials with Ryan Reynolds, but let me tell you some things you may not know about Mint Mobile. First and foremost, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless coverage for as low as $15 a month. You don't have to worry about sacrificing any coverage, speed, or data because Mint Mobile is built on the nation's largest 5G networks. You get the same great service for less. Seriously, I couldn't believe the service I was getting. I didn't have to worry about dropped calls. I didn't have to worry about lowering speeds, and I was paying a whole lot less. What could be more? Mint makes switching a breeze. You don't even have to leave your house. Seriously, within a few clicks, you could be well on your way to savings. No getting up, no standing around waiting in the store, and this was a big one for me, I didn't have to switch my phone number. With the nation's largest 5G network, I had the same great service, unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot, but was paying a whole lot less. Plus, Mint keeps their customers in mind. They offer several different data plans, and get this, after you've been with Mint for a while, they chart your data usage and will even recommend a plan that may be cheaper if they believe they can save you money. So use the link in my description to get premium wireless starting at $15 a month at mintmobile.com/ATTS. Thank you so much to Mint Mobile, and with that, back to the video. But with all that being said, let's dive into this room, and we're going to start with Jace McClellan because I think this is going to be a guy that's going to put college football on notice this year. Anytime he gets the opportunity, he just shows how gifted he is. This was the guy that was the thunder to Jahmyr Gibbs' lightning, but don't get it misunderstood. He has a lot of get up and go as well. Jace McClellan is sneaky fast. I think this is going to be a big year for McClellan just because I think when we watch what Tommy Rees did at Notre Dame, it fits Jace McClellan's skill set to a T. I think the bruising capabilities he brings to the table are going to be maximized this year, and I think it's going to be a ton of fun to see what he's able to do. Next in line, we have Roydell Williams, someone who I think could also be a major beneficiary of Tommy Rees coming to Alabama, as could every single one of these running backs. But my question remains, because Jace McClellan has the ability to be a receiving threat out the backfield, but someone else must too be a receiving threat out the backfield. Roydell Williams has that ability. Kind of like Jace McClellan, he can be a guy that's a bruising back, but he's got some get up and go just like Jace. That's why I'm so excited about this running back room, because I think when we really start diving deep into the Notre Dame offense and the type of running back Tommy Rees looked like he wanted, I think Alabama is absolutely full of them. And we haven't even gotten to start talking about some of the younger dudes, such as a Jamarian Miller, who really has got a bright future ahead of him. Jamarian Miller has a lot of Alabama fans excited as to what the future holds. This is an individual that when he played during Kansas State, he showed flashes of what Alabama fans could come to expect in the future. And just as a quick side note, another one of the reasons why I'm so intrigued about this Alabama rushing attack is the offensive line. Coach Eric Wolford being in year 2 with the Crimson Tide, you would expect this offensive line to take a step forward, and I really do like a lot of the talent on this offensive line, and I love some of the new guys. Guys such as Pritchett or individuals, I'm interested to see if they'll take a step up, but we'll save that conversation for when we dive into the offensive line. I wanted to talk about a few more names in the running back room. First and foremost, Justice Haynes, next, Richard Young. Because both of these guys, in my opinion, were 5-star running backs during the course of the 2023 recruiting cycle. Justice Haynes came in as a 5-star running back, Richard Young is a blue-chip 4-star, but throughout the entirety of the 2023 recruiting class, Richard Young was a 5-star running back, and through a lot of it was the #1 running back in the nation. And personally, when I watch his film, all I see is a 5-star running back. He is that gifted. Any institution in the nation would be over the moon by pulling just one of these. Alabama got them both, which really highlights the point I tried to make at the beginning, that Alabama's recruiting is nutty, but the recruiting they do at the running back position is really compelling, because Justice Haynes, Georgia legacy, from the state of Georgia, and yet he's going to be playing his college ball with the Crimson Tide. I think both of these guys, and Haynes and Richard Young, have a ton of ability. The only thing they have working against them is lack of experience at the college level, because ability is not going to be in the question for Haynes or Young. But they're going to be in a room where they're competing against Jace McClellan. They're competing against Roydell Williams. They're competing against Jamarian Miller, and every single one of those guys has talent and college football experience. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Justice Haynes or Richard Young work their way up this depth chart, because they are that gifted, but I do think it's important to note they just don't have the experience. Now, before we get out of here, I did want to take some time and talk about one name that I mentioned briefly earlier, that they aren't listed as a running back, but we all know they have the capabilities of playing running back, and that's Emmanuel Henderson, because I posed the question to all of you, who's going to take Jahmyr Gibbs' role in that receiving threat out the backfield? And if Emmanuel Henderson is to move back to running back, what a threat he could pose as a receiving threat out the backfield. He would put defense on skates, and I'm really interested to see how this offense goes and tries to evaluate the running back talent they have and what they're going to do with Emmanuel Henderson. Because that wide receiver room had some questions last offseason, but I think it's a really talented wide receiver room. I think the only questions they have now is lack of experience and who's going to be that real guy on the outside. I think there's a ton of slot pieces you love. So what happens with Emmanuel Henderson is a question I'm really interested in, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs not being there, and especially with modern college football offenses loving running backs out the backfield the way they do. Could Emmanuel Henderson slide back in at running back and fill that role? It's entirely possible. We know he's a very gifted player and a guy that you just want to get the ball in his hands. But I'm so interested in hearing from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about all this. That's it. See you.